Welcome to the session of second PUC syllabus. So in the second PUC syllabus, I am continuing the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variation, which was started in the previous class. Now, in the last class, I explained you about the monohybrid cross, the monohybrid ratio with phenotypic and genotypic ratio like that. Based upon the results of the monohybrid cross, Mendel proposed certain laws. Now let us look into those laws with statements. The Mendel proposed the laws which are called laws of inheritance or even Mendelian principles or even called principles of heredity. All are one and same. The first law what proposed was law of unit character. Law of unit character in the sense each character of an individual is controlled by a pair of factors. Mendel used the term factor because he did not know the term called genes, which was later coined by Johnson. The character of an individual is controlled by a pair of factors or by two factors. Say for example, capital TT controls tallness, whereas small tt controls dwarfness. So this is the statement of the law of unit character. Then, what is the law of segregation or law of purity of gametes or even called Mendel's second law? What this law states? The law states that the factors controlling a character separate in equal ratio during gametic formation. Say for example, as you are aware, this capital TT controls what? Tallness. During gametic formation, they segregate or separate like this and enter into the gametes. Thereby a gamete contains only one factor out of a pair. Hence, it is even called as the law of purity of gametes. Observe here, there are two factors for a character, but during gametic formation they separate in equal ratio. Thereby each gamete contains or received what? A factor out of a pair. As it contains only one factor for a character, we can call it as what? Law of purity of gametes. This is even called as Mendel's the second law. This was the proved while the monohybrid the experiment was carried. Then the another one is law of dominance. This is even called as first law of Mendel. In order to understand this law of dominance, we have to recollect the law of unit character. What this law states? It states that each character of an individual is controlled by what? The factors. And how many factors are there for a character? The factors always occur in what? Pairs. For example, capital TT for what? Tallness, which is homozygous. Capital T, small t is also for tallness, that is heterozygous. Whereas small tt for what? Dwarfness, which is homozygous. That means the factors always occur in what? Pairs for a character. Then when the law of dominance can be seen, when the law of dominance can be seen, or in which condition we can prove the law of dominance. Remember, the law of dominance cannot be proved by taking any of the homozygous individuals like the capital TT for tallness or small TT for tallness. The law of dominance can be justified only by taking what? An heterozygous plant or heterozygous individual. For example, here I am taking this capital T and small t. This stands for what? Tallness. Whether it is heterozygous or homozygous, it is an heterozygous individual. And observe whether it contains both the factors necessary for the tallness and even for the dwarfness or not. It contains both factors. Observe capital T for tallness and small t for what? The dwarfness. But whether the dwarf character is expressed or not, no. Only tall character is expressed but not the dwarf character. This is because of the fact that the factor for tallness, that is capital T, is dominant over the factor for the small t, which for the dwarfness. Hence, the dwarf character is a recessive character and the tall character is the dominant character. So, hence, the recessive character is expressed only in the absence of what? The dominant factor. But the dominant character is expressed both in the homozygous condition and in heterozygous condition. But the dwarf character is expressed only in the homozygous condition, that is small tt for dwarfness, but not in heterozygous condition like that of the capital T, small t, which stands for what? The tallness. That is about the law for the dominance. Now, let us pass on to the next event, that is the partial or incomplete dominance, or even called blending inheritance. Remember, in Mendel's work, we did not come across the word incomplete dominance or blending inheritance or partial dominance like that. We came across only what? Only the term dominance and recessive, not the incomplete dominance. But later on, the Karl Korentz, who was one of the rediscoverers of Mendelian principles or Mendelism, they proved that there is what? Incomplete dominance in some individuals or in some organisms like that of the Mirabilis jalapa plant, which is even called as a Corvo clock plant. So, Corvo clock in the sense, so this plant, in this plant, the flower blooms around the evening 4 o'clock. Hence, it is called as a 4 o'clock plant. And the another example is Antirrhinum. The common name is snapdragon plant. So, Karl Korentz proved the partial dominance or incomplete dominance in this, the examples Mirabilis jalapa and even in Antirrhinum. What is incomplete dominance or partial dominance? The incomplete dominance is the situation or the condition wherein a dominant character is not completely dominant over the recessive one. Thereby, an intermediate character of the parent is expressed. So, that is incomplete dominance. Or simply we can say the dominant factor is not completely dominant over the recessive factor. As the result of it, an intermediate, the phenotype of the parents is resulted. That is incomplete dominance definition. Now let us take up the example of this Antirrhinum and even Mirabilis. Whatever we are going to explain for one plant, the same thing holds good even for the other plant. What he did was, he crossed pure the red flowered plant with that of white flowered plant. So I hope in the previous class I told you what may be the genetical norms to write the schematic representation of the experiment. First of all, you have to write what? The parents, represented by the symbol like this, Greek symbols. And later, phenotype, that is external appearance of an individual. He took what? The plant with red flowers and crossed with the top, the white flowered plant, that is red, white. So this stands for pollination. Then genotype, that is genetic makeup of an individual. So it is represented by capital RR because red is controlled by dominant factors, and here it is small rr, recessive factors. Then how many types of the gametes we are going to get? Only one type, that is capital R, due to law of segregation. And here also one type of gamete, that is small r. Whenever these two get fused together, you are going to get the F1 plant. What plant you expect according to Mendel's principle or Mendelian laws of inheritance? It should be what? Red flowered plant. But wonderfully, you obtain the pink flowered plant. All the flowers are pink. Pink is an intermediate color between the red and white. Instead of getting the red, as per the Mendelian principle, Warrens obtained what? The pink. This is due to what? The incomplete dominance of the red over the white. And later, he did the same experiment what Mendel did. That is, F1 plants are self-pollinated or self-cross. So self-cross in the sense, again we have to write like this, male, female, and then phenotype. What would be the phenotype here? We have to write F1 plants all are what? Pink. Hence, we have to take both of them are pink flowered plants. And then the genotype. What may be the genotype? Look here, that is heterozygosity of that one, capital R, small r, capital R, small r. How many types of the gametes are formed here? The gametes are of two types because the plant is what? Heterozygous plant. Capital R and then small r. Here capital R, small r. So here two types of gametes, here also two types, because the heterozygosity is same in both the plants. Whenever this fuses with this one, capital RR, this is red flowered plant. And whenever this fuses with this one, capital R, small r, this is pink. And then this one, capital R, small r, again this is pink. And this one, small r, white. And this is F2 generation, and of course that was F1 generation. So how many red and pink and white are obtained? Observe here, two pink and then one red and one white are obtained. That is 1:2:1. This one stands for red and this two stands for pink and this one stands for white. What may be that ratio is? Whether it is a phenotypic ratio or a genotypic ratio. Of course, let us consider it as a phenotypic ratio. Now, what may be the genotypic ratio? The genotypic ratio, if you observe the genotype of the individual, so it is like this, capital RR, only one, capital R, small r, two, this one and this one. and then small r are 1. This is the genotypic ratio. Observe, both phenotypic and genotypic ratio remain same. But according to Mendel, the phenotypic ratio was what? 3:1, and genotypic ratio was 1:2:1. That was mainly due to what? That was due to the dominance and the recessive. Why the ratio here is get modified? This is due to the fact that there is the incomplete dominance or partial dominance. After observing these results, what we can draw? Conclusion. The conclusion can be drawn like this. The red and white are always expressed in what condition? Both of them are expressed only in homozygous condition. That is the one. Second, whether there is any specific gene for pink, as like for red and white. For red, there is capital R. For white, there is small r. But is there any the specific gene for the pink flowers? No, absolutely no specific gene. But when the gene for red and gene for white come together, that results in what? The pink flowers. Hence, the pink flowered plant is always what? Heterozygous individual. That is the another. Why the pink is resulted? What may be the reason? The reason is it is due to the incomplete dominance of a dominant gene, that is capital R for red, over the white, which is represented by small r and is recessive. So totally or simply we can say it is due to the incomplete dominance of a dominant factor or dominant gene, capital R for red, over the gene small r for white, which is recessive. These are said to be the conclusions of this experiment. That is what is called partial or incomplete dominance or even blending inheritance. Observe here, blend means intermix. But whether there is any blending inheritance like this here? No. If you observe the F1 generation plants, of course, we may come to the conclusion that the red and the white are get intermixed with each other, as a result of which the pink is obtained. But if you observe the results of the F2 generation, if at all the red and white are intermixed with each other, then we cannot expect what? The red flowered and the white flowered plants in the F2 generation. This shows what? This shows that the genes are the factors, they retain their identity or individuality. They will not blend with each other. So here why it is not expressed in the F1 generation? It was only due to the incomplete dominance of a dominant factor over the white, which is a recessive factor represented by the small r. That is what is called partial or incomplete dominance or blending inheritance. Now, let us know what is the concept of the dominance, and of course, I hope you are familiar by the term the dominance. The dominance can be seen only in the heterozygous condition. In the heterozygous condition, in the sense where there is said to be the factor for the one character, that is dominant character, and the recessive character. So in that state or in that condition, we can know the law or concept of the dominance. Say for example here, And of course, as I said earlier, each character of an individual is controlled by what? A pair of factors, like capital S, S here, and then the capital S, small s. These are nothing but the factors are the alleles. Alleles, what is the definition of an allele? Allele means a pair of genes controlling a pair of contrasting characters. That is said to be the allelic definition. Now if you observe this one, this is the homozygous one, individual, and this is an heterozygous individual. So for what this S stands? Say for example, S is supposed to be an allele containing an information to produce an enzyme, and that enzyme is necessary to act upon what? The substrate S. Only if at all the enzyme act upon the substrate, you are going to get what? End products. Otherwise the substrate will never be broken down, yielding what? The end products. So suppose the allele S contain an information, because each and every gene contain an information, so which will be expressed in the form of what? A triad or a character. The allele S contain an information which is responsible to produce an enzyme which act upon the substrate by name the S, thereby the end products are the resultant. Now let us know about this small s. Small s in the sense it is a modified form of the allele capital S. Or simply we can say the small s is a modified allele. Whenever the allele capital S is modified and become a small s, what may be the effects? It results in 1. A normal or less effective enzyme. The second one, the enzyme may be formed but it is non-functional. And the another possibility is no enzyme at all. Now let us analyze. Observe the first case. In the first case, this modified allele small s act like that of what? Unmodified allele by the letter S. So that normal reaction occurs. No problem here. But if you observe the second and the third case, here the enzyme is formed but it is non-functional. Here no enzyme at all. That means to say here that S small s do not contain the information to produce the enzyme necessary for the transformation of the substrate S. Hence, in these two cases, we can call it as a modified allele. That means the small s may function as like that of an allele represented by the capital S in some conditions. But in majority of the conditions, it cannot function like that of the capital S. But capital S always contain the information to produce what? The enzyme necessary for the transformation of the substrate S. Hence, the capital S can be considered as a dominant allele and the small s can be considered as a recessive allele. Remember, the dominance can be studied only by taking what? Only by taking an heterozygous individual like that of the capital S and small s. And it is not possible to study the concept of the dominance in the homozygous condition of either dominant factors or the recessive factors. So this is about what? the concept of the dominance. With this, the concept of dominance and the partial, the dominance or incomplete dominance is overall completed. In the next class, I will take up the co-dominance, which is deviated from the Mendelian principles. Thank you.